Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to What's Better, Raw or Smackdown? Now, I know you guys are probably thinking, am I going to do this week's? I am not doing this week's just because I'm not caught up enough. So I'm going to be doing last week's Raw and Smackdown. I was really busy last week, so I didn't get a chance to watch last week's Raw and Smackdown. So I am doing just that now, and I actually kind of can't wait to see what happens. And I'm looking forward to it. For both shows anyways too, because Raw has some good stuff coming up, but this is the final SmackDown Live before Elimination Chambers, so they're going to try to build up some stuff, and I kind of can't wait to see what happens in that regard. And let's see what's better this week. Is it going to be Raw or is it going to be SmackDown? Because we're on the road to WrestleMania season, and last week Raw was, I guess 2 weeks ago Raw was better, which was the last episode. So in this episode, will Raw will have a repeat and beat SmackDown, or will SmackDown be able to beat Raw again and just prove that it was a fluke? We're gonna have to wait and see it. So let's see what was better, Raw or SmackDown. All right, so let me start by previewing Raw. This Raw is for February 6, 2017. And let me kind of preview some stuff that was announced ahead of time before Raw. They announced that Samoa Joe is going to sign his contract to be as a superstar, which is going to be pretty exciting. We also have the situation too with Seth Rollins, where he's injured, which I personally think it sucks that he's injured, but he ended up getting injured a couple of weeks ago, which was on the last episode. Because when Samoa Joe put him in the Coquilla clutch, Seth Rollins' knee gave out a little bit. So now we're going to be led into question whether or not Seth Rollins is going to be able to be at WrestleMania. So we're going to have to wait and see in that aspect. What are they going to do now when it comes to the, Triple H at WrestleMania? I don't know if Triple H is going to be on the show or not. We're going to have to wait and see. And another thing we're going to have on Raw is we're going to have an appearance by Goldberg. He's going to be responding to the challenge to Brock Lesnar's WrestleMania challenge. Obviously we know he's going to say yes, but it's going to be interesting to see Goldberg again and them to start to build up the Brock Lesnar Goldberg match. That's going to be interesting, and kind of can't wait to see what happens with Raw. So now they've kind of talked about it. Let's dive right into it. Okay, so we had Raw, and I actually thought Raw was a good show. I actually thought it wasn't a really good show, but it was a good show. I really enjoyed it. We had Corey Graves, Michael Cole, and Byron Saxton on commentary for it, and then we had a contract signing for Samoa Joe, and he was going to sign his contract for Monday Night Raw, and Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon are conducting this. And Mick Foley isn't being very enthusiastic about it. He's like, when he introduces him, he's very depressed about it. He says, please welcome the hottest free agent, the newest signing in Monday Night Raw, Samoa Joe. So then Samoa Joe comes out, and then Stephanie McMahon's like, okay, let's do that again. So then she introduces him, and then Mick Foley's like, okay, let's have you sign the contract. And then Stephanie McMahon says, what's the matter with you, Mick? You don't seem that into this. Are you upset because I once again had to do your job and find the newest hottest talent? Are you upset because you're not the you're possibly gonna lose your job? She just pretty much puts him down. And Mick Foley said he's upset because he's been a fan of Samoa Joe for years. However, he doesn't like, and he wanted him to come. He thought he had been pushing for him to come up to the main roster. However, he doesn't like the way he went about it. Because he thinks he has all the talent in the world, but he doesn't like the way he went about it. So then Samoa Joe gets on the mic and he says, "Well, if you've been liked me for," and he also doesn't think he deserves to be on Raw right now. And then Samoa Joe grabs the mic and says, "Well, if you haven't liked me for years, if you've been a fan of me for years, how come you never offered me a job here?" Because the one guy that actually did see something with me called me and gave me a job, and I'm going to be loyal to that guy, which is referencing, obviously, Triple H. And then he signs the contract, and he looks into the hard camera, and he says, after what I did to Seth Rollins, putting him out on the shelf, I am going to do that to each and every single one of your heroes. And when they wake back up, I am going to just beat them up again. And I thought Samoa Joe cut a great promo. And then Roman Reigns comes out, and Roman Reigns gets in his face and says, so you signed that contract, but now you're in my yode. And he says that he's the big dog, and said that this is the WWE, and he says that he's the big dog, and they have a face-off, and Mick Foley says, no matter what you guys do, I still have the authority to make matches, because I want to be a general manager. I run this for the people watching at home, for the people that come to the show every night. I want to give them a good show. So tonight we're going to have a match between Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe in the main event. And then that was it. And then Mick Foley leaves. And then Samoa Joe leaves with Stephanie McMahon, and Roman Reigns stands in the ring, and Mick Foley's music plays. And overall, I really liked this segment. I thought Roman Reigns came out. He looked like a badass. He wasn't being funny. He actually got in Samoa Joe's face, and he was being a badass. And you could definitely feel some big moments, because these are two badasses, in my opinion, that are going to be going off against each other. You got Samoa Joe, who's the submission machine who destroys people, and you got Roman Reigns, who, when he is booked like that, does the exact same thing. And I kind of like this too, because now it seems like they're going back to that tension between Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon, which makes me question what's going to happen now, because I feel like Mick Foley probably isn't going to be around after WrestleMania season. I feel like he's probably going to end up leaving he'll come back, but he's probably going to be removed from the GM of Raw. Like, either Triple H or Stephanie McMahon's going to fire him, and the Authority's going to take over Raw, something like that. Because now I'm at the point where I'm sure what's going to happen, because I hear stuff that Seth Rollins is going to be ready to go by WrestleMania, but he actually won't be wrestling Triple H at WrestleMania. So I don't know what's happening with that. But I did like this segment. I thought it was really good. And it was a really good introduction to Samoa Joe. Then we had the first actual match on the show. It was Bayley versus Nia Jax. And they announced that since Bayley had pinned Charlotte Flair in the previous episode of Raw, that she's going to have a Raw Women's Championship match next week, which is this week, against Charlotte in Las Vegas, which I can't wait to, which I'm really looking forward to. Because I've always liked the matches together. I could see like Bayley too winning the title, and then Charlotte winning it right back at Fastlane, just to keep that streak going. It'd be really weird. But overall, I thought this match was okay. This is like the best you can really get out of a Nia Jax match. Bayley got the best she could out of her. Nia Jax destroys Bayley throughout the beginning of it, and she beats the crap out of her. But then Bayley makes her come back. She hangs her up on the second rope. She goes off the top rope with a crossbody. And then eventually, Nia Jax throws her into the barricade, and she goes to charge at her into the steel post, and Bayley moves out of the way, and Bayley's going to take the victory via countout. But then Charlotte Flair comes out and distracts Bayley and the referee, so that makes him stop his count. And Bayley kicks Charlotte Flair into the ring, and ends up hitting a body slam on the floor into the ring. And then the distractions this distracts Bayley long enough for Nia Jax to come back in the ring and hit a Samoan drop on Bayley and cover her and get the victory. So obviously I didn't mind what they did, because it made Charlotte look pretty strong. And it made Charlotte look, and afterwards Charlotte stands over her holding the title. So I like what they did. You had Charlotte play mind games with Bayley, so I thought that was good. Then the next match was a 4-on-1 handicap match. Braun Strowman versus ZZ Bonin, Rob Pelly, Dusty Wallace, and James Stark. Weird wrestling names, I guess. I mean, Dusty Wallace isn't too weird, and Rob Pelly isn't too weird, but ZZ Bonin, wow. Like, how the hell did they even come up with that name? But Braun Strowman kills these guys. One of them actually took off, and he hits a power slam on the other guy, and then Braun Strowman just pins all 3 guys, and then afterwards he gets on the mic and he says, and he tells Mick Foley that this is ridiculous, this is what you call competition, and he says that, now I'm coming after you, Mick Foley. So he goes backstage, and I actually kind of was hoping that, like, when he went backstage, one of the guy that ran away was going to be back there, and Strowman was just going to kill him, but I guess that didn't happen. But Mick Foley comes up and says, "What's the matter, Braun?" He's like, "That was a joke. That is not real competition." And Mick Foley's like, "I gave you 4 guys at once. What more do you want?" He's like, "I want you to give me a real match." So Mick Foley makes a match at Fastlane. Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns, which I think makes sense since they're kind of feuding right now. I fully expect probably Braun Strowman to lose to Roman Reigns just because of the fact that it's how it is. So, yeah, Braun Strowman's going to probably lose to Roman Reigns, which is going to be stupid. They pretty much build up Braun Strowman just to feed him to Roman Reigns. And then it plays a video package for Akira Tozawa, and pretty much Cesaro's hyping him up, you know, talking about how great of a competitor he is. So I like this video package. And then we had a Black History Month celebration, because WWE is going to pretend that they care about Black History Month. You know, Black History Month. They show like a famous quote about black people, about how everybody's equal. I forget who actually wrote this quote, but it was, it's them playing tribute to Black History Month. Even though there's never been a black WWE champion, have all the black people in stereo gimmicks. So, they just are pretending. Then we had the next match. It was a cruiserweight match. Akira Tozawa versus Drew Gulak. And since this was a cruiserweight match, Austin Aries replaced Byron Saxton on commentary. I thought this was a pretty good match, actually. Even though it was a squash, Akira Tozawa actually hit some pretty cool moves in this match. He hits a senton on Drew Gulak, and Drew Gulak ends up taking control of the match. He hits a wicked clothesline on him, and he dominates Akira Tozawa for a little while. And then eventually Akira Tozawa hits a suicide dive on the outside, and then a crossbody into the ring. Gulak kicks out of it, and then Akira Tozawa hits a snap German suplex for the win. So and he actually got a great pop too. Like, this is the best. This is the biggest a cruiserweight ever got for a pop. Then afterwards, the Brian Kendrick comes up and shakes his hand. So they're teasing some sort of feud between the Brian Kendrick and Akira Tozawa, which I'd be pretty interested in, because Akira Tozawa, the Brian Kendrick, I think could have a really good match. So I just kind of wish, and I don't mind the story they're trying to tell where the Brian Kendrick's trying to take these guys under his win. I just kind of wish they would do a better job at telling that story. Then Jared KO comes out to cut a promo, and Kevin Owens talks about how you guys did not think I was going to be standing here right now as WWE Universal Champion. I took it to Roman Reigns, and I took it to Braun Strowman. I still have the title. And then Chris Jericho says that, and after tonight, I am going to defeat Sami Zayn and retain my U.S. title, and keep my United States Championship. Then Chris Jericho mentions the fact that since Randy Orton won the Royal Rumble and he's facing whoever the WWE champion is, whoever wins the Elimination Chamber match, he thinks at WrestleMania there should be that the main event really should be him versus Owens, in a title-for-title match for both the U.S. and WWE Universal Championship. And Kevin Owens says that he doesn't want to fight his best friend at WrestleMania, so they talk about it a little bit, and then Goldberg comes out, which was actually a surprise. I didn't expect him to come out here at this point. And one thing I forgot to mention, too, is Chris Jericho, because this is actually also says that there's a certain person ripping me off saying that he's a GOAT, which if you don't know what that means, it's an acronym that stands for greatest of all time. And he says that certain person's going to make the list, and he puts Tom Brady on the list, which was awesome. I actually thought that was really funny. And but yeah, Goldberg comes out, and he says that if you guys, either you guys can stand in the corner and avoid getting laid out, or you guys can be a man and try to take me on, because I have an important announcement to make. So they do that at first. And Goldberg accepts Brock Lesnar's WrestleMania challenge. So now the match is official. It's going to be Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg at WrestleMania. And then Kevin Owens says, "Congratulations, Chris. You're right. Our match is going to be the main event, because this match is just going to be a placeholder, or the match but under our match." And Goldberg then says that he tells Kevin Owens that that at Fastlane, Kevin Owens doesn't have a match. So he wants to take Kevin Owens on for the WWE Universal Championship. And then Kevin Owens, then Chris Jericho grabs the mic and says that, "How dare you think that you can just put yourself in a match and come out here and interrupt us and undermine our WrestleMania match? Well, you know what happens when you do that." And he's going to put Goldberg on the list, but then Goldberg takes the list and he puts himself on the list, and he's like, "Look," and then he says, "Look like I just made the list." And I thought that was hilarious. So this pisses Jericho off. So you want the match at Fastlane? You got it. Kevin Owens, my best friend Kevin Owens, is going to defend the WWE Universal Championship against you. And Kevin Owens is upset that Jericho made this match. And then Goldberg says, so I guess that means at Fastlane, Kevin, you and your WWE Universal Championship is next. And then Goldberg leaves, and that was it. I really enjoyed this segment. I thought Jericho was amazing here, and I thought Goldberg actually was good. And you accomplished two birds in one stone. You build up the Lesnar Goldberg match, and you set up a match for Fastlane. So I liked it. So what I probably see happening is, I don't want to see this happen, but Goldberg's probably winning the title at Fastlane. They're going to do Goldberg versus Lesnar for the Universal title, which really it should be Owens versus Jericho for the Universal title, but it's going to be Goldberg versus Lesnar, and Jericho will be out there. And what I expect to happen is, unfortunately, this is going to have to happen for the story to work. And this is just what I see happen. I think Goldberg's gonna squash probably Kevin Owens, which is either he'll squash him or Owens will get a little offense in, but Goldberg pretty much will dominate the match. And afterwards, Jericho will be helping Owens up, and Owens is gonna kill Chris Jericho and take him out with the powerbomb on the apron. So that's probably what I see happening at Fastlane. Is Owens is gonna finally turn on Jericho, and then they're gonna do Jericho versus Owens for the U.S. title, and Goldberg Brock for the WWE Universal title. Well, really, it should be Jericho versus Owens for the Universal title. So, but yeah, like I said, I thought this was a great segment. Because I just don't see Owens beating Jericho. Owens beating Goldberg either, just because of the fact that you have Goldberg, who squashed Brock Lesnar, who's a beast. And you have Kevin Owens, who needs help to beat Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, who, Seth Rollins is who have been destroyed by Brock Lesnar as well. And Kevin Owens, I don't think Kevin Owens, it's gonna take a ton of interference pretty much though, but we'll have to wait and see. Then we had the next match. Well, then next Jericho was backstage, and Kevin Owens is upset that Chris Jericho made the WWE Universal title match. That's the problem he had with Mick Foley. But Chris Jericho said he did it because he's got his back. He always has his back in title matches. But Kevin Owens is all upset, so he walks off, and this upsets Chris Jericho. So I thought the backstage segment was good. It makes it look like that Jericho is going to break up. And then next was a WWE Raw Tag Team Championship match. WWE Raw Tag Team Champions Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson versus Cesaro and Sheamus. And Enzo Amore and Big Cass were out there watching the match because they want to challenge the winners of the match for the Raw Tag Team titles. And Cesaro and Sheamus dominate the first half of the matchup. They hit a bunch of uppercuts. Sheamus hits a running power slam, and Sheamus hits a body slam, and Cesaro hits a crossbody at the same time, which looked really cool. And then eventually Luke Gallows gets tagged in, and he takes out Cesaro. Cesaro, so the heels get the heat on Cesaro for a while. Then eventually, no, actually, they get the hit on Sheamus for a while, actually. Then eventually, Cesaro gets the hog tag, starts going off on everybody, and he hits a uppercut on Gallows, taking him out of the ring. And then Gallows ends up super kicking Enzo Amore, and Big Cass big boots him. And Cesaro was about to put Carl Anderson in the sharpshooter, but the referee saw this. So Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson won by disqualification, which means they retain their titles. And Cesaro and Sheamus afterwards are pissed off at Enzo and Cass, which they should be. And that was it. I thought this was okay. Really wasn't a huge fan of the finish, but they probably want to do this match again in Fastlane, so I guess that's fine. Then afterwards, in honor of Black History Month, they play a video package for Jackie Robinson. Who used to be a baseball player. He fought in World War II, I think they said. And then 1949, he was voted MVP of the year. And in 1953, he was voted, I believe they said, his team won the World Series. And then in 1962, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame for baseball. So, it was nice that they did it. It's kind of weird, though. They didn't even use the word superstar because they've done the exact same video package. But pretty much a lot of black wrestlers like Cedric Alexander, Alicia Fox, who else talked about him? Apollo Crews, Darren Young. So a bunch of... Surprised Titus O'Neil didn't. And then it gives us an update on Seth Rollins' injury. I've talked about it before. So Seth Rollins... re-injured his knee from when it had surgery on it, and it shows a picture of him on Twitter saying that even though he's been knocked down, he's going to continue to get back up and finally get his hands on Triple H. And he said that even though he keeps getting knocked down, there always is a light at the end of the tunnel. So I thought the tweet was good, and it does suck that Seth Rollins is possibly going to miss WrestleMania. Even if he's going to be fully healed, I don't know if he is. I don't know if they're going to take the chance and put him in a match at Mania, because it's either they put him in a match with Samoa Joe or Triple H. I fully expect it to be Triple H. Then maybe afterwards you could do a Samoa Joe Seth Rollins feud. But I feel like maybe now they should kind of wait off till SummerSlam, because it's kind of a risky thing to have Seth Rollins go out there and have a match, even though he's going to be and have a match at Mania. Maybe have him return at WrestleMania and lay out Samoa Joe with a pedigree or something. And then you can do Samoa Joe, Seth Rollins at the next Raw pay-per-view. And then maybe save Seth Rollins, Triple H for SummerSlam. Which kind of sucks. You have to kind of put that match off now. So that does suck. Then we have the next match. It was another tag team match. It was the Shining Stars versus Xavier Woods and Big E with Kofi Kingston ringside. And the New Day cut a promo talking about how the Shining Stars ask what those pamphlets are for. And how they're for a 5-star resort. But they asked if this thing actually does exist and who's actually going to this thing. And as they said, nobody is because it doesn't exist. And they say that we give people stuff too, but we give people stuff that actually exists. Like we give them magic by talking about unicorns. We give them dancing. We give them the ability to dance by having Francesca 2.0, and we also feed them by giving them Booty-O cereal, which you can buy at FYE, which I'm totally gonna do. And then they say Xavier Woods said. Big E says maybe we could also give them ice cream. And Xavier Woods is like, ice cream? And he gets this great look on his face. And then the New Day says, well, we'll give him ice cream because New Day rocks. New Day rocks. So I thought that was good. And then the match itself was actually fairly solid. It was actual match. I expected it to be a squash. And it really wasn't a squash. The Shining Stars hit a drop kick into a Russian leg sweep. They also hit a double clothesline takedown. So they actually hit some good moves in this match. But eventually, Big E and Xavier Woods win with the Midnight Hour, and then that was it. But overall, I thought this was good. You could definitely see though that the New Day just has nothing to go on now, and I really think that the New Day is kind of still getting stale. They were good this week, but you can definitely. But the New Day really, there's only so much you can do with them now. They've done everything that there is to do as being a team. So I would say maybe after WrestleMania, you have them break up just because, and have one of them turn heel. And if I had to say someone, I'd say Big E. Have them completely wipe out Xavier Woods and Kofi and turn him into a big monster. And then you can still keep Kofi and Xavier Woods, I guess, as a team if you want. For short term wise, to feud with Big E, but I personally think that the New Day, it's time to kind of end that, because it's just kind of like there's nothing for them to do at this point. Then next, Chris Jericho gets interviewed, and Charlie Caruso asks him if him and everything between him and Kevin Owens is okay, and Chris Jericho says, "What is wrong with you? Not that it's any of your business, but everything is fine between me and Kevin Owens. We just had a little stint, which even best friends have that." And he says that this hasn't put aside his focus to take on Sami Zayn. He's going to go out there and he's going to retain his U.S. title. And then Kevin Owens comes up, and Kevin Owens tells Chris Jericho that he's right. We always have each other's back. You've had my back and helped me keep this title. And he says that you're right, we're going to have each other's back. And then Jericho and Owens hug. And yeah, I guess that meant that they were okay. So I thought overall this was a good backstage segment. And then it announces that the Rock and Roll Express are going into the Hall of Fame. I'm happy for them. They deserve it because they're a good team. I really don't know a whole lot about them because I wasn't alive at this time. So, but they definitely look like a very flamboyant team. So, they have a little video package for them. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase talked about him. Jim Ross, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Who else talked about him? Somebody else. I forget who else, but pretty much it was a video package where all the superstars played for him. And it will be nice to see him go into the Hall of Fame, I guess. But like I said, I don't really know a lot about him. So then next was a United States Championship match. United States Champion Chris Jericho with Kevin Owens ringside versus Sami Zayn. I thought this was a good match. Not as good as the match that they had the week before, but this was still a good match. And Sami Zayn dominates the first half of the matchup, and he tries to chase after Chris Jericho, and Jericho catches him coming into the ring, and he dominates Sami Zayn for a while, hits a suplex on him, hits a springboard drop kick, and then eventually Sami Zayn starts to make a comeback. He hits all his moves, and he goes for the haluva kick. Jericho moves out of the way, tries to go for the walls of Jericho. Zayn hits a roll-up on him, and then Sami Zayn hits a cross-body, and the Blue Thunder Bomb. Jericho kicks out of all of those moves. Then eventually Jericho gets him into the walls of Jericho, but Sami Zayn's able to get to the ropes. And then behind the referee's back, Kevin Owens super kicks Sami Zayn, and Jericho hits a code breaker on him, covers him, and gets the victory and retains the U.S. title. I thought this was a good match, though. I kind of wish they would have had this actually be a feud going into Fastlane, Jericho and Zayn, but I guess they just wanted to throw the match on Raw. And this does leave me the question of where Sami Zayn is going from here, just because he's kind of doing nothing right now. He's had a pretty big couple of weeks. He defeated Seth Rollins to get into the Rumble. He had a good showing in the Rumble. He beat Chris Jericho the week before. Now he just lost here and kind of lost a lot of his momentum. So I am questioning where Sami Zayn is going. And then Sasha Banks is backstage getting her knee checked out. And then Charlotte Flair comes up and says that, a lot of people used to say that we were equals during our little rivalry. But lately all you've been doing is having, checkups for your knee. And I've been keeping my undefeated streak as a pay-per-view. And then she says that, and your best friend went out there to fight for your honor, and she got laid out as well. And I was left the one standing on tall. I just said that after next week, she's going to Bailey's going to be joining her next to her in the hospital bed, and then she says, I guess our Iron Man match at Roadblock end of the line wasn't just the end of our rivalry; it was the end of your career. And then that was it. I personally didn't care for this. I thought this made Sasha Banks kind of look weak. I feel like what this is leading to is a Sasha Banks heel turn, which I actually would be down with that because she definitely needs a heel turn because this babyface thing I just don't think is working. But I didn't care for this segment. It made Charlotte look like a good heel, I guess, but it was just... the next, Austin Aries interviews Neville, and I thought Austin Aries did a great job with this. And he tells us about Rich Swann's injury because he suffered an injury from attacking Neville on the weeks before episode of Raw, and then he says that then he announces that there's going to be a fatal 5-way match where the winner is going to face Neville at Fastlane for the Cruiserweight Championship. It's going to be between Jack Gallagher, Cedric Alexander, T.J. Perkins, Tony Nese, and Noam Dar. And he says that, and Austin Aries asks him which one of those opponents he's more afraid of. And Neville says, "Are you delusional or something?" Because that was a dumb question to ask. And he says that that match doesn't matter to him because all that's going to do is just lead to the next victim of the guy that's going to be bowing to him. And then Cedric Alexander comes out, and Austin Aries like, "I only asked for a one-on-one interview. You probably want to come out here and say some comments, but you don't need to do that. This is a one-on-one interview." And then Noam Dar comes out and says that the reason he says that he's going to steal Neville's Cruiserweight Championship just like he stole Cedric Alexander's girlfriend, Alicia Fox. And then Jack Gallagher comes out and says that that he asked Neville if he's the king of the cruiserweight, that he should be he says that he should be the real king of the cruiserweights because he actually acts like a gentleman. And then Tony Nese comes out, and Austin Aries doing every time someone comes like, "This is supposed to be a one-on-one interview between me and the champ Neville." And when Tony Nese had come out, he says, "Here comes Tony Nese with his great abs," very sarcastically. I thought that was great. And he actually had a funny line on commentary during the Gulak Akira Tozawa match. He actually says that every time he sees Drew Gulak, it makes him want to go take a dip and go swimming. It was so random and funny. Austin Aries has been killing it as a commentator and as a journalist. Then T.J. Perkins comes out, and he says that he's the only one that has experience out of all these guys, except for Neville, obviously, winning the Cruiserweight title because he won the Cruiserweight Classics this summer. And he says that him and Neville have unfinished business, so they're going to go after each other. But in the meantime, and he takes a cheap shot at Tony Nese, and everybody starts attacking each other. And Neville attacks Jack Gallagher, but Jack Gallagher fights back and knocks Neville out of the ring. And then he goes to dive on him, but Tony Nese pulls him out. And T.J. Perkins takes out both guys. And then Cedric Alexander takes out everybody. And then Neville acts like he's going to dive on people, but then he's like, "No, I'm not wasting my time with that," which I like that he did that. And then it cut to commercial. But overall, I thought the segment was really good. It was a good way to build up to the Fatal 5-Way match. And I do like that they're doing that match. It's kind of something they have to do because which one is hurt, so, And then next it was the makeover of Emma to Emmalina video package. They announced that she's debuting on the next episode of Raw, which was this week. So I hope that actually happens because I think I believe they have announced it before, and it didn't happen. So hopefully it happens this time. I can just imagine what Corey Graves is gonna say. And I'm just going to hate this next week because I don't like this gimmick at all. And then next it was a 6-man tag team match. Jack Gallagher, Cedric Alexander, and T.J. Perkins versus Tony Nese, Neville, and Noam Dar. And Austin Aries took Byron Saxton's place on commentary since this is a cruiserweight match. And I thought the 6-man tag team match was good. Nothing fancy. The heels get the heat on Jack Gallagher for a while. And then eventually TJ Perkins comes in and gets the hot tag. But then Noam Dar takes him out with a drop kick in midair. And Noam Dar and Neville and Noam Dar were bickering during this match. Noam Dar wants to make a tag, but Neville just gets off the apron and walks away, just like he did on 205 Live. And then TJ Perkins tries to beat him with a roll-up. Tony Nese breaks it up, and Nese and Dar are like, what are you doing? And then TJ Perkins takes out Noam Dar. Well, no, he takes out Tony Nese. And then Cedric Alexander gets the hot tag. He hits a springboard clothesline on Noam Dar. And then the lumbar check for the win. So this was to build up Cedric Alexander. And I thought this match was good. And I forgot to mention that Fatal 5-Way match is going to be an elimination match. So, overall, I thought this match was good. And if, out of the 5 guys I want to see win this match, what I do like about it is it is unpredictable. You don't know who's going to win. It could be... I don't think it's going to be Noam Dar or Tony Nese because Neville's a heel and I expect him to go up against a babyface. I could see TJ Perkins winning just because of the fact that, they have unfinished business. Neville's attacked him before. I could see Jack Gallagher winning because he's been stacking up a lot of victories and, he's been impressive lately. And I would like to see Neville versus Jack Gallagher in a match too. I think that would be great. And Cedric Alexander I want to see win mainly to get out of this Noam Dar feud. But I think he's a huge contender to win because him and Neville have kind of been feuding lately too. So it could be any of those guys. I expect it, but it can't be Tony Nese and Noam Dar. And then Jericho's backstage again, and they talk about the friendship. So Chris Jericho decides to host a the Fiesta of Friendship. He says that it's gonna show how much his friendship means to Kevin Owens. And then Kevin Owens is like, okay, and he says, I'm totally gonna come, thank you. And yeah, I can't wait to see what that's gonna be like. And then we had the Elimination Chamber video package. I don't know why they showed this on Raw because they're pretty much hyping up Smackdown, which was weird. But it shows the Elimination Chamber. Well, no, actually, it shows the build-up to it. It shows Cena winning the title from Styles at the Rumble. And then it shows the actual Elimination Chamber match itself. The actual Elimination Chamber itself, how sick and twisted it can be. And then a bunch of superstars are talking about it. Edge says that he'll never go back inside an Elimination Chamber match ever again. Randy Orton says it's the most sadistic match that he's ever been in his career. Who else was talking doing this? Sheamus says that he feels like he's a different person ever since he's been inside the Elimination Chamber. Rob Van Dam says that it did things to me that I never expected it to do. And they pretty much are just, a bunch of superstars that pretty much are hyping up the match, which I thought was good. And, but Shawn Michaels did say that it's pretty much, you can do anything you want in this chamber match. It's like a little kid who's given freedom. So I thought that was actually kind of funny. But yeah, it was a way to hype up the chamber match, which I thought was good. It was just weird that they played it on Raw. But they announced that the Elimination Chamber is going to be a new structure now. I don't know how I feel about that because I always liked the old chamber structure. So it's going to be interesting to see what the new structure is going to be. Then next we had the main event. It was Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe. And before Roman Reigns gets to the ring, Samoa Joe attacks him from behind before the match starts. And he beats the crap out of him. He tosses him into the barricade, tosses him into the steps, tosses him into the ring post. And then he goes in the ring, and we think the match is going to start, but then he gets back out in the ring. He atomic drops Roman Reigns. He hits a senton on the floor. And then pretty much the beginning of this match is Samoa Joe dominating Reigns once the match finally starts. And then Roman Reigns fights back, throws Joe into the barricade, into the steel post. But then eventually Samoa Joe starts attacking him some more. He hits a splash and an enziguri on Reigns. And he continuously attacks Reigns, but then Reigns starts to make a comeback. And he hits a Superman punch on Samoa Joe, and he goes for the spear, but then Braun Strowman comes out And Reigns also hit a Samoan drop on the drop eye kick before that too. And Braun Strowman comes out, and Roman Reigns has a face-off with him. He hits a right hand and a Superman punch on him. And then Joe hits an Enzuigiri to the back of the head and a Uranagi for the win, which was weird. He beat him off the Uranagi, but I kind of wish he had beaten him off with the Muscle Buster. And I kind of wish Samoa Joe had just won clean without interference, because it just does. I just don't like the fact that he had to attack. He even attacked him before the match started, and he still needed help to beat Roman Reigns. So I didn't really like that too much. But then afterwards, Braun Strowman attacks Roman Reigns. He hits a power slam on him. He throws him out of the ring, and he hits him off the head with the steel steps, and then he power slams him through the timekeeper's area into the barricade and through the crowd. And the show ends with Braun Strowman looking strong. And I like the attack, but like I said, didn't really like the fact that Samoa Joe needed help to beat Roman Reigns. And I kind of think that Samoa Joe should have been spotlighted. Like, I know he was in the main event of Raw, but I kind of wish he had been spotlighted at the end of the show instead of Strowman. I get you're trying to push the match, but Samoa Joe is somebody that is really new, and I think like he didn't get as much spotlight at the end as he should have, but it is what it is. But he still won, so that's something. I do kind of I am interested to see what they do with Samoa Joe. And yeah, that was kind of the main event of Raw. So overall, I actually thought Raw was a really good show. I actually enjoyed it. There wasn't really anything I can really think of that was really bad, except maybe that Sasha Banks segment. But that was just so small, you couldn't really say, that it was bad. I like the stuff they did with Samoa Joe and the Roman Reigns segment, and the match itself I liked up until the kind of the finish. Bayley and Nia Jax wasn't a bad match. Braun Strowman on the build up between Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns for Fastlane was good. Akira Tozawa and Drew Gulak was good. The build up for the WWE Universal title match was good, and the stuff they did with JRKO was really good. And the US title match on this show I thought was good. The Raw Tag Team title match was good. The tag team match with the Shining Stars, Xavier Woods and Big E, wasn't bad. And the announcement of the Rock and Roll Express and the Hall of Fame was good. The interview segment with Aries was good, and then the 6-man tag team match itself was good. And yeah, that's about it. So I thought the show was a really good show. If I had to rate it, I'll give it a 7 out of 10 because I thought it was actually a really good show. So let's see if SmackDown can beat Raw. Alright, so now on to SmackDown for February 7th, 2017. So, I'm just going to kind of preview SmackDown. So, I only know like one match, and that one match is making me not want to watch the show. And that match is John Cena versus Randy Orton. We're going to get it at WrestleMania, so why not just get it, a few weeks early? Randy Orton won the Rumble. They've been setting up that match They kind of set up that match last week. They're trying to make it feel like that we haven't seen this match before when we really have. We've seen it, 19 times, I believe it was. It's getting old. I don't want to see this match anymore. Just let the feud die. But I guess it ain't gonna die. We're gonna get it here, and we're gonna get it at WrestleMania. Fuck WWE. Alright, so now on to the actual show itself. We had Tom Phillips, JBL, Mauro Ranallo, and David Otunga on commentary for it. And it shows a video package for John Cena and Randy Orton's feud, talking about hyping up their big match for the main event. It talks about, how Cena won the title and Randy Orton won the Royal Rumble match. So they've kind of had the same career path, and they go over like the whole feud and everything. I thought, it wasn't bad. It's just we've seen this match so often. So, and then Daniel Bryan comes out to cut a promo, and they were in Seattle, Washington, so they were actually in his hometown. So he got a huge ovation, like more than normal. And he comes out and he says that a year ago he had to make the most difficult announcement ever in his life, and he said that he had to retire and he can no longer wrestle anymore. But he says he thinks of the things that he's grateful for, like the fact that he's the SmackDown general manager, the fact that He's got to know so many people, all his friends and family, and the fact that he's going to be a dad soon. And then the Miz and Maurice come out, and the Miz says that Daniel Bryan should just stop talking because he doesn't have it anymore, and he says that he shouldn't. You can't wrestle anymore, so why is he in this ring? And so then Daniel Bryan says, "Well, you do make a fair point, but you, but that never stopped you from being able to come into this ring." And then The Miz says that he is awesome, and he says that he's going to prove it Sunday at the Elimination Chamber. But the crowd keeps talking over him. They keep chanting Daniel Bryan. And then The Miz is like, when my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. And then he says that he's the best wrestler in the world. But the crowd keeps chanting over him. He's like, and then he says, I have a microphone. I can talk louder than you. And then Daniel Bryan says, I think he's challenging you guys. So then Baron Corbin comes out, and he says that the Miz's mouth is going to get him into trouble, just like it did last week, and just like it's going to tonight, and just like it will at an Elimination Chamber. And the Miz suggests that him and Baron Corbin work up together and take out everybody in the Elimination Chamber, so that way it's just down to them two, and they can fight out to see who the champion is. And then Baron Corbin says that, that's a great idea, but I could just take you out right now. And then the Miz wants Daniel Bryan to do something about it. And Daniel Bryan says, Baron, please don't punch the Miz in the face. And then Dean Ambrose comes out, and he says that that he can't take the Miz seriously with what he's wearing, and that Baron Corbin is a big dude. But he said that he's going to go into the Elimination Chamber. And he said that Baron Corbin stole his motorcycle noise that he was going to have in front of his theme song. And he says that he says that Baron Corbin hasn't lived through the stuff he's lived through. And he says that he's going into the Elimination Chamber, and he's going to walk out with both the Intercontinental and WWE Championship. And then AJ Styles comes out, and he says that now that you guys can stop playing Tiff Fit all you want, because you guys forget about the facts. The fact that The Miz can't wrestle, Baron Corbin's tall, and Dean Ambrose is going to be locked inside his cell again. And then he says that he's beaten everybody in the ring at a certain point, and he says that he's going to get back his WWE Championship. And he says that he's the greatest wrestler in the world. And then The Miz says that he's going to win the WWE Champion because he's a must-see superstar. So then everybody starts going crazy on each other. So Daniel Bryan decides to have a fatal 4-way match right now. So we had that match. It was Dean Ambrose versus The Miz with Maurice ringside versus Baron Corbin versus AJ Styles. I thought this was a really good fatal 4-way match. Baron Corbin dominates the first half of it. He dumps superstars out of the ring, but eventually Ambrose fights him off. He takes him down with a tackle, but Baron Corbin's able to take back control, and Styles goes to go over the top rope, but Corbin catches him with a right hand, and then eventually Ambrose dumps Miz outside the ring, and then The Miz takes out Ambrose and Styles with double drop kicks in the corner, and he hits the Daniel Bryan's yes kicks on Ambrose and Styles. He hits a snap DDT on Styles, covers him. Styles kicks out. He kicks them both on the head, covers them both, but they both keep kicking out. And then Baron Corbin hits a deep 6 on AJ Styles. AJ Styles kicks out. Dean Ambrose hits a torpe suicida on Baron Corbin. Styles goes for the Cabrana, but Ambrose counters and throws him into the barricade. And then he hangs The Miz up balls first on the barricade. He throws Baron Corbin into the steel post. And Baron Corbin hits a big boot on Miz. And then eventually AJ Styles hits the phenomenal forearm on Ambrose. And then Corbin hits the end of days on Styles, covers him and gets the victory. So Baron Corbin gets the victory here. I was fine with this. I kind of wish Styles didn't take the pin. I kind of wish Ambrose would have, because, I feel like Styles kind of needed, not necessarily a big victory, but he has lost a lot of momentum after losing to Cena, so he kind of, he's kind of lacking direction right now because we don't know what he's doing at Mania. And, Ambrose is somebody that won't really, I don't think we've gotten hurt too much if he got taken the pin. Just a suggestion, though. But Baron Corbin wins, and I'm happy about it. It builds him up as a badass going into the Chamber. And then Luke Harper's backstage, and he says that they say that a man that's lost everything is the most dangerous man. But what happens to a guy that never had anything to begin with? And he says that Randy Orton stole his family away from him. And he says that he doesn't want to cut the snake's head off because that's too easy. He wants to make Randy Orton suffer, and he said he's going to do just that at Elimination Chamber. And he was kind of like a Bray Wyatt type of promo where he was backstage, but except he had like a bunch of lights around him. I thought it looked really cool, and I'm really digging face Luke Harper. Next, Nikki Bella gets interviewed, and Tom Phillips is actually the one interviewing. They're doing it over commentary, and it was actually Nikki Bella and Natalya that got interviewed, but they didn't want to have them in the same room together because of the fact that, because of the brawls and everything. And Tom Phillips asks Nikki Bella if she thinks that after this match at Elimination Chamber between these two, that the friendship will ever be the same again. And Nikki Bella then says no, because she doesn't know this Natalya, and she feels like that this is a different Natalya than she's ever seen, and this was what Natalya that actually was her all along. Then Natalya says that she's not she was never Nikki Bella's friend because Nikki Bella doesn't have any friends, and she just pretending to be Nikki Bella's friend. And then they stop bickering on each other. Nikki Bella says that she stole her uncle away from her, and pretty much says that all the people in Total Divas are going to have to make you look nice. They always try to make you look like nice with makeup, but that's not going to be the case after this Sunday because I'm going to beat you up so bad where no amount of makeup's going to cover it up. And Nikki Bella goes off on her saying that people used to respect you in this business, but the truth is all you can know how to do is wrestle. She talks about how she's delusional, thinking that she stole Bret the Hitman Hart away from her, and how she wrestled. But then then Natalya says that after she loses, she's going to be all upset and depressed, and she's going to try to tell her niece and lie to her, saying that it's okay to lose, and she's going to have to grovel at her pregnant sister. And John Cena's not going to have time to help pick her up when Natalya had attacked her because Cena's the champion. He's going to be too busy for that, and Nikki Bella then says that all Natalya knows how to do is wrestle, and after this, you're just going to go back and be a crazy cat lady. And then Natalya says, but when after this, John Cena's going to move on, and he's going to be with a different girl. And if I wasn't married, John Cena would go after me because I'm way prettier than you. And then Natalya's like, I can't believe you just said that. You know what? I give up. And Nikki Bella walks off, and Natalya's like, yeah, just typical Nikki. Just can't hear the truth. And then that was the end of the interview. But I thought this was really good. I thought it was one final chance to sell the match at the pay-per-view, and I thought it worked. It was something different than them cutting a promo on each other. I like that they did this interview segment here, and I really can't wait to see the match this Sunday. I still think though with what they're saying to each other that it should be a no DQ match, but whatever. Then the next match was Apollo Crews versus Dolph Ziggler. Kind of wish they would have waited to Elimination Chamber to do this match. And Apollo Crews didn't even get an entrance. And I really don't remember a lot of this about this match because it was really short. But Apollo Crews beats the crap out of Dolph Ziggler the first half of it. Ziggler dominates him. But then eventually Apollo Crews beats him with a roll-up. And afterwards, Ziggler gets pissed off. He super kicks Apollo Crews in the ribs. And then he grabs a steel chair, beats the crap out of him with a chair. And then Kalisto comes out, and he drop kicks the chair in Ziggler's face, and he goes for the Salida del Sol, but Ziggler counters and hangs him up on the ropes and hits Kalisto repeatedly in the back with the chair, and then he does the same thing to Apollo Crews, and then Ziggler walks off. Wasn't bad, but it's the same thing they've been doing pretty much since this feud's begun. So And then it shows another video package for Black History Month. This time it shows Rosa Parks and talks about the whole situation, how she refused to give up her seat for a white person on the bus. And I don't mind these promo segments, but what I hate about them is that they sound so scripted. Because Mark Henry, Cedric Alexander, Rich Swann, and Titus O'Neil, and who else? David Otunga were all kind of doing the video package, and it sounds like they were reading off a script word for word. I really didn't care for that. Alicia Fox was doing it too. Then Dolph Ziggler's backstage, and Daniel Bryan comes up to him and he's like, "What's going on with you? What are you doing?" And Dolph Ziggler says, "I'm getting my stuff and leaving." And then Daniel Bryan says, "Why do you think you can just attack people with steel chairs just because you lose a match?" And Ziggler says that he can beat Apollo Crews and Kalisto. He can beat them both separately, and he can beat them at the same time. But he likes hitting them with chairs better. And then Daniel Bryan says, "Okay, that gives me an idea. You're gonna face Kalisto and Apollo Crews in a 2-on-1 handicap match." So I don't really get why they're doing that match. I kind of wish they just do a triple threat or like a tag match and have Ziggler team up with someone. But I guess they're going with the 2-on-1 handicap match. So whatever. And then we had the dual contract signing. And the dual contract signing was between Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and Naomi. And they're having 2 separate matches at Elimination Chamber. Becky Lynch is facing Mickie James, and Naomi's facing Alexa Bliss. So, yeah, I think that I actually can't wait to see the Mickie James Becky Lynch match, and the Alexa Bliss Naomi match I think could be good, but I am looking forward to the Mickie James Becky Lynch match. And Renee Young hosts this segment, and she talks about how all 4 are really good competitors. And then Mickie James says, "There's only 2 legitimate competitors in this win, and I get you trying to be a journalist and it's cute, but let me take this." So then Renee Young takes off, and Mickie James talks about how how she was in the WWE and she started the women's revolution because of her obsession with being the best woman and being the women's champion. She's been a 6-time women's champion, and nobody in history has ever done that. And then when she left for afterwards, she left for 7 years, and she sees Becky Lynch taking credit over having the women's revolution, something that she had already started. So then she came back, and she realized that Becky Lynch was just a flash in the pan, and she says that you've been living off my legacy. No, she doesn't say that, but she said it's because of my legacy that you're here. Without me, there is no you. And she said that she's going to beat some respect into Becky Lynch. And that Becky Lynch says that she used to respect Mickie James up until she aligned herself with Alexa Bliss. And she said that when Mickie James left the company, because Mickie James also said that she's going to take out 7 years of outrage on Becky Lynch. And Mickie James said that she left the WWE because it got too hard. And that's not how Becky Lynch rolls. When life gets tough, she keeps going. You just walk away from it. And then Becky Lynch says that... what else did she say? Becky Lynch also says that she is going to beat up Mickie James. And that Mickie James thinks that just because she's back here, that everything should just revolve around you. And then they both signed the contract, Mickie James and Becky Lynch. And then Alexa Bliss grabs the mic and says that Becky Lynch doesn't have any respect for Mickie James, and you always find excuses for the reason that I keep beating you for the SmackDown Women's title. So then she signs the contract, and then she goes like, "Oh, Naomi, I forgot you were there. Well, I'm going to beat you this Sunday." And then Naomi says that, that she didn't forget about her because she's beaten her twice. And she says that you damn sure ain't going to forget about me this Sunday. And how she wants to fulfill a dream and walking into her hometown of Orlando, Florida, with the SmackDown Women's title around her waist. Then she signs the contract. And then Naomi attacks Alexa Bliss and hits a kick to the head on her, beats the crap out of her. And then Becky Lynch attacks Mickie James. and they throw them both out of the ring, and Naomi dives on both women, and that was it. And afterwards, Mickie James like she only kicked my ass because I was wearing heels. But I thought this was a good segment. It was a way to push both of the matches. This was mainly pushing the Mickie James Becky Lynch match, in my opinion. The Naomi was just kind of there, so and I totally don't see Naomi winning the title, so it's just not going to happen. She's just a filler opponent, so. Next, we had a 12-man tag team match. American Alpha, Breezango, and Beauty and the Man Beast versus the Usos, the Vaudevillains, and the Ascension. This was an okay match. Chad Gable starts the match off with Jimmy Uso, but then Aiden English tags himself in, and he tries to hit, and he starts arguing with Jimmy Uso, and Chad Gable tries to catch him into a roll-up, and they dominate. The faces dominate the first half of the matchup, and then the heels get the heat on Heath Slater for a while. Then eventually Rhino gets the hot tag and starts going off on Victor, and eventually the match breaks down into chaos, and everybody starts hitting dives on each other. And then Rhino goes for the gore. He hits it on Connor, and then Victor goes off the top rope and hits a knee to the head for the win. So the Ascension actually got a pinfall victory, which was kind of surprising, because I don't even remember the last time they even won a match. So that was kind of cool. I didn't care about it because I'm not a huge fan of the Ascension, but still, I actually didn't see the heel tag team winning because I didn't see it coming. And I don't think Breezango, by the way, turned face. I just think they didn't have a lot of face teams in this match, so they just put Breezango on the face team. So, but it was I didn't mind the match too much. It was a way to set up the tag team turmoil match. And then the next match, it was the main event. It was John Cena versus Randy Orton with Bray Wyatt ringside. Randy Orton dominates the first half of the matchup. He throws Cena into the steps, and then eventually Cena tries to go for the AA. Orton goes for the RKO. And then Cena goes for the AA again. Orton counters with a phone house and slam, and then Cena bounces Orton's head off the steel steps, goes to AA him through the announcer's table, but Orton counters with a back suplex on the table. And then Cena hits the 5 moves of doom and hits an AA on Orton. Orton kicks out. Orton hits the Draping DDT off the top turnbuckle, and then hits an RKO on Cena. Cena kicks out, and then eventually Cena goes for the AA again. The referee gets taken out, and Cena gets Orton to the STF. Orton taps out. Cena thinks he's won, but he doesn't realize the official's been taken out. So then Wyatt attacks Cena, and Orton and Wyatt put the boots to Cena, and Wyatt goes to hit this feed Randy Orton into the RKO, feed Cena to the sacrifice Cena to the RKO, but Cena hits a clothesline on Orton, and then Wyatt hits the Sister Abigail on Cena, and then Luke Harper comes out and he has a face-off with Bray Wyatt, but he doesn't actually want to fight him because they're making it seem like Bray Wyatt still has something on Luke Harper. So Bray Wyatt tells him to leave, and and Harper, you think is gonna leave, but he takes Wyatt's head off with a discus clothesline, and then which was awesome. And then Orton goes for the RKO. Harper counters, and Cena hits him with the AA, covers him. Referee comes to, pins, and Cena ends up winning the matchup. And we also found out too, by the way, I didn't mention it, that Luke Harper is going to be facing Randy Orton, at Elimination Chamber, which I can't wait to see that match. And Cena celebrates with the title afterwards, and then that was it. The match itself, I really didn't think was anything special because it's nothing we hadn't seen before. But the stuff with Luke Harper I thought was awesome. Him finally getting his hands on Wyatt, I thought that was just really awesome stuff. But the match between Orton and Cena, more of the same. Okay, so next we had Talking Smack, and we had Renee Young and Daniel Bryan on the panel, and Nikki Bella gets interviewed. And by the way, I thought Daniel Bryan was absolutely fantastic. There's one part when he's like, let's talk about some wrestling, which I feel like Vince McMahon's gonna not like that he says that, because he likes usually people to say sports entertainment. You could tell Daniel Bryan just feels comfortable being on there. He just says whatever the fuck he wants, and I feel like he does, because they're not gonna fire him, because if he does, he'll just go wrestle in like Ring of Honor or New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then so they kind of in a tough spot with that. Surprised they don't just take him off, but whatever. But yeah, Daniel Bryan was great, and he even talked about how him and Victor used to be a tag team called Meet Me. Um, so Nikki Bella gets interviewed, and she talks about what Natalya has against her and how Natalya has been gotten too far and how she's just gone completely psycho. And then she says that she just wants the stuff that I have, that I've worked for. And then Natalya actually comes up and says, "So you got yourself on the Talking Smack. Did you have to go to John for that?" And then she's like, "What is going on with you? Why don't you just let this go?" And then Natalya tries to attack her, but Nikki Bella slaps her. Then Natalya attacks, gets the upper hand, throws her into the screen, like the screen of the like one of those like setups of the Talking Smack, and then the both underneath the panel, and Natalya pulls Nikki Bella's arm up and slams her face right into the glass. I thought that looked really brutal. And eventually, officials were able to pull her off, and Daniel Bryan just kind of sat there and watched. So, but it looked really brutal. I thought this was really good. And then, so after they collect themselves, Baron Corbin gets interviewed, and he pretty much says the same thing he always says, how, he doesn't care about what anybody thinks of him. He's going to win the WWE title. Same thing he always says. I like what he says, but it's like, he doesn't care about what anybody says. But he says it all the time. And then John Cena gets interviewed, and he actually doesn't even know what happened, so he asked them to fill him in, and then he sees what happened to Nikki Bella. He's like, and he actually talks about Nikki Bella, which was kind of weird, because this is the first time he's actually talked about Nikki Bella. And he talks about how she has so much resolve, she's taken so much shots of what people said about her. And then when asked about Natalya, about how she trusted her, he's like, well, can you really trust her to begin with if she's going to be doing that? And she talks about, how she has tremendous resolve. He talks about the Elimination Chamber match and how, the statistics could hurt you because you couldn't end up coming in 1 and 2, and the Elimination Chamber was your worst enemy. And then he says the person that he's most afraid of is AJ Styles, because he's fighting for a point to prove, and him and Styles just have a clinic in the matches. And then that was it. Overall, I thought Talking Smack was really good. I really enjoyed it. I like the Nikki Bella attack, and I liked Cena on the show. And Baron Corbin was good. It's just, the same thing all the time. So overall, I actually thought SmackDown was actually a really good show. I really enjoyed it. If I had to rate it, I have to rate it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really good. I liked the stuff they did with the show, building up to Elimination Chamber. I liked the opening promo segment with Daniel Bryan. I liked the Fatal 4-Way match. Luke Harper's promo was good. Nikki Bella's interview, Nikki Bella and Natalya's segment, building them up, and then what the stuff they did with them on Talking Smack was really good. Ziggler and Apollo Crews wasn't bad, I guess. The dual contract sign I thought was good. I thought the 12-man tag was good, and the Ascension winner was a surprise to me. And I wasn't a huge fan of Orton versus Cena, but I did like what they did with Luke Harper in that match. And Owen and Cena was fine, I guess. It's just, see it all the time. And I thought Talking Smack was really good. So overall, I want to give SmackDown an 8 out of 10. I just thought they did a good job setting up to the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, and they touched on everything that they needed to touch on. So, as you guys know, I thought SmackDown was better this week. I just thought SmackDown had better segments on the show, had some better matches on it, and I thought they did a good job. And they stepped it up, built it up to Elimination Chamber, made me looking forward to want to watch that. So overall, I thought SmackDown was better. And that's pretty much it, guys. Please make sure to subscribe to this channel. And make sure to like, comment, and, subscribe. And subscribe to my Wrestling Fortune 44 and Owen the Talkinator channel. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later. And we'll have my Elimination Chamber predictions up on my Wrestling Fortune 44 channel.